Hey, how's it going, guys? Thank you for stopping by, checking out our live. Welcome to Shop Talk Live. My name is Rick, also known as Rick's 2 Cents, with my fellow co-host Steve from Steve Makes Everything and Roger from Roger Shop. We're here to answer any questions you have, lasers, woodworking, you name it.
I think I'm going to change my username to Steve 3 Cents. Just,
3 cents?
One better.
Too funny. One thing we had brought up on a previous live is we wanted the opportunity to bring someone from the audience into the live. And I wanted to try that out today. So if there's anyone who is interested in joining our live, let us know. What we're going to do is I'm testing this. We use Streamyard to host our lives. Streamyard has a built-in app that we can have you do any type of keyword. And if you type the keyword in the comments below, then what it will do is it'll automatically run a tally and then be able to see who entered the keyword and, randomly pull the winner. So if we can do that today for the live and it works flawless, then maybe we'll use the same app for the laser giveaway on our 30th episode. So I believe we're on 28. I can double check that. But yeah. So if you are interested, let me just go ahead and I'll get it started, and then I'll unshare my screen just so you guys can see how this works. So it is Shop Talk Live. Let me go ahead and hit start. So you can see that it is doing that. So if you are to enter Shop Talk in the comments, if you go ahead and write in the comments below, hashtag Shop Talk Live, and then it will automatically start pulling these people and entering them. And then when we stop it, it'll go ahead and select anyone who wants to do it. Again, if you don't want to join us in the live, you don't have to, but it's just something I thought it would be interesting to do. So if you wanted to, so I'll go ahead and let the ticker run at the bottom so you can see if you don't have a chance to enter. But then I'll remove this and we'll share that again at the end so that we're not a little tiny on the side here. Hey, everybody. How's everyone doing today?
Oh, we seem to have lost Steve's audio there.
Oh, yeah, Steve. We can't hear you.
Yeah. Sorry.
Happy hump day, everybody. Happy hump day. Here they go. They're coming. So remember, hashtag Shop Talk Live. Put it in the comments if you'd like to be able to be randomly selected to join the live.
Come and hang out. You can pick on us.
Yeah.
We'll ask some probing questions. So I was showing Rick before we went live. My new acquisition is this DJI Pocket 3, Osmo Pocket 3. Nice little camera. This one isn't a review. This is me paying several $100s to buy a camera.
I did the same thing with the DJI Osmo. I bought it myself, and I use it quite a bit. It's not the pocket version. It's the when they first came out with it, it's the waterproof, shockproof.
Yeah, I had the fortitude to buy the 2-year warranty, so I'm eligible for actually up to 4 complete unit replacements if I need them.
I haven't put mine underwater for that reason. I'm like,
no, these things are definitely not waterproof. There we got Jack from Westerville. Happy to have you back, Jack.
Another Ohio. Oh, Jay Don't Play is in the building. Jay Don't Play is a famous magnet fisher.
Oh, sweet.
She's a YouTuber. She's quite known in the industry.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully she signs up for the Shop Talk Live. We can all.
Hey, so Jay, if you type hashtag Shop Talk Live in the comments below, we are running a program. There's an app running in the background that's collecting everyone who does that, and we'll randomly select someone to pull them into the live if you'd like to join us. She said she's not famous. She's famous. In the magnet fishing world, she's famous.
Now I have to go look.
Yeah, in the magnet fishing world, she's famous. I'd say Brute. I think it's like the best magnet fish you can buy. They love her, so they throw her stuff. So that says something. But when I first saw her videos, I almost thought they were staged because like she always finds cool stuff.
And
magnet fishing.
And you find nothing.
Yeah, I get hooks and lures, and she pulls up safes and bikes and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
if it's a safe full of gold bars, that's a good find.
Yeah.
Well, my only experience with magnet fishing was when I dropped my ratchet in the river after we were putting the dock in. I had to go grab a magnet and find it. But that's about all I've done magnet fishing wise.
My wife dropped her keys in the Fox Valley River, and I dropped the magnet and came up, and the keys worked fine. Is it normal for the laser to become obstructed when engraving ceramic using the Norton white tile method?
Are you talking about the lens getting dirty?
Do you have air assist?
Of course, I always have air assist on even pretty low even when I'm doing ceramic tiles, and I just did a whole bunch of them this past week. Whole bunch.
Yeah. The only fake with me is my teeth.
Well,
she said the girls are real. The girls are real.
my girls too. Hey, Stephen. Thanks for the support. Oh, and thanks for becoming a member of my channel, Stephen. You've been seriously binging videos this week.
Yeah, Steve and I were talking before the live that we noticed a ton of comments from Stephen. Appreciate the support, brother. Thank you. That's awesome. So
yeah,
other videos.
It's always good to know that videos get used for something other than, holding disk storage.
All right, Roger, where you at?
Oh, what have I got tonight? H2O in a jumbo cup.
So is 4th of July still haunting you?
No, it was hot today. I did a lot of work outside, and the last thing I need anything is alcohol tonight. I got to rehydrate.
Yeah, I was stuck in the air conditioning in the office today.
Jay's videos are real. She doesn't throw the safe in the water first and then or have some diver down there hooking things on. Like what was that show? There was some fishing show where somebody was hooking fish on the guy's rod. That's what I would need to be a magnet fisher.
Too funny. I'm gonna look really quick. I want to see what episode are we on. I think this is episode 28.
25.
25?
Yes.
Oh man. Okay. We're on episode 25, people. We're gonna do a live giveaway on episode 30 for a laser. So as always, in order to be eligible for a winning, you'd have to be a subscriber to each one of our channels. You'd have to like at least one of our videos, at least share one of our videos, and comment at least one of our videos. But for all 3 channels. I mean, there are other videos, but they'll cost you. We got the Silver Fox over here on OnlyFans too, so you got a little competition.
Are you pointing at me?
Yeah, I'm pointing at you.
It's natural highlights, man.
Yeah, she's gonna have 50,000 DMs now. What's the OnlyFans page? Too funny.
There we go.
Sorry.
Answer question here. Deep engrave on slate.
Well, how deep?
First, I would say, what are you using to engrave it?
Yeah, what's the laser? Because
And
if you use an F1 Ultra, you can get deep engraving in slate. Very deep. Like millimeters deep. But, that's not a $300.
other times I use air assist always.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
Even if I keep it down real low, like for example, when I'm doing ceramic tiles and like I said, I just did over 100 of them this week. I still keep the air assist on a low volume because it keeps the lens clean.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
a little positive pressure if you're doing something dusty keeps the lens away.
You're right. It is
All the dirt
episode
away.
25. Watch out,
Well,
Steve.
It's
I love being older, man.
Uh-oh.
You got the ladies.
I'm not
man.
your type then, because I'm only 26.
The ladies are always commenting on you. Me and Roger are chopped liver.
Well, so I was in the hardware store one day not that long ago, and there was these two, I won't say old ladies, but older than I was, and they were gossiping amongst themselves. And when I walked by, they stopped, and one lady looked at me and she said, "You have nice hair." Like, okay, I gotta go. So it's an Acmer P2. Well, that definitely has air assist. 33 watt. That should be, you should be able to get, well, see, the problem with diode lasers is they don't really do deep engraving on slate. You need a fiber laser for that.
It's technically more of an etch with a diode laser.
Yeah. What it'll do is it'll turn the slate to a bit of goo, actually, and then it solidifies, and you get what looks like an engraving. But yeah, if you want deep engraving, a diode laser is not going to do it.
What I did see someone do, and I haven't personally done this, but I saw somebody else do it on YouTube, is they took 600 grit sandpaper and sanded it smooth. It almost came like a matte finish. And I think it kind of removed that almost like finishing they put on it.
Yeah.
And then they had a lot better engraving with a diode laser. And then he sprayed it with spray paint, clear, but it was matte.
Yeah.
And so basically you took off the finish to build engrave it, but then you still want that look. So you put the matte rip back on. I haven't tried it, but it looked pretty good. And the results before doing that, not doing that, were pretty drastic. So maybe give that a try.
Yeah. We have to assure Jay she's not going to get booted. You should hear some of the things that we say.
We're pretty rowdy.
We try and keep it tame, general audience, but
yeah, we're pretty rowdy. We just try to stay out of politics. Other than that, we're fair game. Very cool. Yeah, guys. So if you're in the magnet fishing, check out her channel.
I have it bookmarked now. I have to go watch a video. See what I'm missing without having a big magnet and a rope.
Yeah, it's cool. I think it's so cool. People were literally pulling over, parking, and coming and watching me. I was magnet fishing, and they're like, "What are you fishing for?" I just kept saying mermaids, and everyone would just laugh. You know what I mean? But and then people were just standing there watching. I'm like, "You want to throw it?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "You're not gonna hurt it. It's a fucking huge ass magnet." Like, you know what I mean? And they throw it 4 or 5 times, and then they don't want to do it no more. It's actually really heavy if you got a really decent magnet.
Yeah,
they're pretty heavy. You feel that in the shoulder.
Do you have it on cable, or is it on some kind of like?
I went and bought a rope for an anchor.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say either that or like climber's rope, right?
Yeah, I didn't want that. Now a lot of people do that because I didn't want to have to like grab that with my hands, and it's so thin, it just raws your hand out because it's all wet. So at least I had a nice thick rope I can grab onto, and it didn't get burned in my hand.
We have these things called gloves now. You could try those.
Yeah, I don't know. She said hers is 4.7 pounds. Man, I'll have to weigh mine. I'm not sure. Whatever it is, it starts feeling heavier after 10 throws. You feel it.
You need like a slingshot to launch the thing. You only have to lift it as high as the slingshot.
Yeah.
Steven's sporting a burn. Hopefully it's on a visible skin area.
Oh, I thought he meant like sporting a burn.
Well, he's a West Coast guy,
I'm one of those fortunate people that it's really hard for me to get a sunburn. I can pretty much just look at the sun and I'll tan.
Yeah, I do the same thing, but I burn.
Oh, in fact, in 2 weeks I'll be in Mexico. In fact, live we'll do I think it's on the 28th. I'll be in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, so I'll be trying to do it from there.
Kick ass. So. Hey, you know what? I don't know if you guys noticed, but I've been using an AI app to take our lives, and it picks up like the best. I've been picking the best 5 things we talked about in our live, so that when someone clicks on the short, that it brings them automatically to the full video.
Cool.
Yeah, and one of the things you had mentioned is we had said, why are we doing YouTube? What we're doing it for? And one of the things that Roger said was, hey, I wouldn't be able to be in Mexico and do these type of things if it wasn't for YouTube or my side hustle. So
Yeah,
that goes to prove it.
The painful honesty. Well,
Yeah.
not so painful.
Yeah, But what's crazy? 25 episodes. That went by quick.
Yeah, we should actually. You should have the contest next week because that's the 6-month episode.
Really?
Yeah, I missed the first couple though, and so I'll go for 30.
Okay, we'll go for 30.
I didn't really accomplish much this week. Well, I've been working on a 65th anniversary plaque for the last week. It's just about finished, but
this is our 25th episode, so we're doing on our 30th. So it's every Wednesday. So yeah. Free laser, guys. Free laser for our subscribers.
Yeah.
So that'd be very cool. Anybody have any questions? Appreciate everyone hanging out, just talking. But any questions, let us know in the comments below.
Here, let me show you something just so that you know that viewers have impact. So last week, let me share my screen here.
Sure.
If I can figure out how to do this again. Share a window. Here we go.
Hey Jay, feel free to drop in the comments below your channel if you want people to join your magnificent live to be able to see it.
So,
is this the dart thing?
This is the first draft. I may change this, but the slot over here is for the flights and the holes for the actual dart shafts.
Badass.
And lots of little things to get your fingers in there to pull them out. I'm actually trying to figure out how to do one where I can leave the flights on the darts. So there may be a version 2 before version 1, but
okay.
So this was Steven's idea last week, and I told him I'd make him one and send it to him. So
very cool.
Now I just have to find a time to actually make it. Very
cool.
So yeah, it's just basically this is only the bottom. Obviously, there's going to be a top, but that's what we do. Free design.
Yeah, very cool. Hey, Roger, I know you go to trade shows and those type of things. Those events, not necessarily trade shows. What are they called? Where they sell all the stuff.
Oh, craft fairs.
Yeah, craft fairs. And people have been asking me about that, and I told them, you know what, I'd bring it up on our live. I said, because I don't know too much about it, but one thing I wanted to make note is that you did mention that you don't always actually attend. That there's times you give it to your granddaughter, I believe.
Yeah, I give quite a few things to my granddaughter. She makes a tremendous amount of stuff, especially tumblers. I mean, she's just hundreds of them. She's very, very successful with them at the craft shows, and I give her signs. In fact, I even got one laying there. She's got a show coming up, and signs like this are real popular.
Right. So the point of me bringing this up was, even if you're not necessarily interested in going, you could partner with someone who does that. Right. Or maybe your significant other or even just a family member would be willing to, sell it, and you work out a deal and, whatever. And if you don't make a ton of money, just think about it this way. It's money you wouldn't have made anyways because you weren't going to go. Right. Yeah. Right.
And so, one of the most profitable ones she's done here recently was actually not even a craft show. It was an automotive parts swap meet up in Jefferson, Wisconsin. And she set up a table next to her dad. Her dad has a spot up there too where he sells automotive items. And she just made a killing. Have you ever done
flea markets?
Pardon?
A flea market?
I don't. I just don't want to take the time to screw with it. I did do a craft show last year just to see what it was like again. And to me, it still sucks. I mean, I made money at it. It's not like I lost money, but to me, it just burns a day where I could be doing something else.
Yeah, I just know there's a flea market between us. I forget. I think that's 55 it's on. I've always seen it off the highway. I've never actually stopped, but it's huge and it's all red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. You seen that one near the
No,
car auction?
I haven't seen that one.
It's humongous. It's in Illinois.
Yeah, I try not to do that sort of thing too. I find more.
Oh, hold on, let me share this.
More inspiration doing one-offs than going and selling 50 of something.
There you go. These I just changed the banners. These are our channels. So if you're trying to subscribe to our channels, that's them. Sorry.
Fiber lasers.
Hello.
So these things, so fiber lasers have a lot to do with what you want to engrave, what's your primary use case, and how much money you have. to be blunt, it's how much you got, right? Like if you want to do coins, and Rick shows off his pretty awesome coin that he's built there quite often, and I'm surprised he hasn't got it in his camera right now.
It's in my back pocket. I always keep it in my back pocket.
Oh, really? He does. Look at that.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that kind of thing, you definitely want like at least a 50 watt, probably 60 or more. But keep in mind, with great power comes great price.
So I would say this: there's differences. Are you doing laser etching, or are you doing laser engraving? And what I mean by that is, like, are you doing dog tags where you're just removing the ionize off of it? You don't need a 60 watt MOPA.
Right.
Buy a 30. And
you'll whip through them
you'll whip through them really quick, you know. And but are you doing laser engraving when you're removing material, you know, like this? Then yes, it can be done on a 30, but just because you have so here's the difference too. When you have a 30 versus 60, just because it's a 60 doesn't mean it's going to do it twice as fast. Like you have that assumption in your head, but it doesn't actually work out that way mathematically, you know, because it's a piece of metal, and you can only heat up metal to certain limits, right? Because it's going to have a bad effect on it being too hot or whatever. So it is faster, 100%, but the most is the amount of material you can take off in one pass. So I would say I wouldn't purchase a fiber laser under a 30 watt. And if I could afford it, I'd go to a 60. Now, if you're going 100 and the 200 watts, then you better be cutting metal, like cutting through metal. Yeah. Otherwise, there's no reason to spend that much money at all.
Yeah, and if your budget is $3,000 to $4,000, you can certainly get a 30 watt for that.
Yep.
You're almost in the 60 watt range.
Range. And then your big thing is going to be: are you buying factory direct from China, or are you buying rebranded from the U.S.? And the difference is that if you're buying from China, you better actually make sure you're buying from the manufacturer, not someone who's just selling it from overseas, because then you could get a piece of crap or no support, even if it's good. But if you're buying directly from the manufacturer, you could save a ton of money. But you know, the difference is when you buy someone from stateside, you know, most of the time they are Monday through Friday, they speak English, they have tech support. So you just got to do your homework if you're buying a factory direct or from overseas. That'd be my advice.
Yeah. Well, and Commarker and Monport are two factory direct for sure. I really like the Commarker, actually. I'm currently looking at their B6, which is a brand new one. It's a 60 watt. I don't know what the price is yet, but I think they're announcing it actually today or tomorrow. They're doing some live. But I'll have a review on that at some point in the not too distant future, hopefully. The reason I haven't had it already is because the unit I have is like a very, very early prototype. And so I'm currently doing some upgrade on it.
If you send me an email, I'll send you some links for some manufacturers, the ones that are sitting behind me. You can do a cost comparison to some other U.S. bases versus not. I'm just not posting the manufacturer out of respect for all of our sponsors.
A Canadian living in Texas. Must be an oil guy.
Canadian, so what the hell? It's like you went from one extreme to the next.
Well, it depends where you live in Canada. Alberta and Texas are very much alike because they're both oil industry places.
Yeah, right? But Texas is hot as hell.
Lots of cows, lots of natural landscape.
But it's hot. 110, 115 hot.
It's hot everywhere. It was
Texas
hot
is
here
hot.
today.
I think, but your weather's kind of like the same as Rogers and I's. Not like it used to be, unless you're way
You
up
get
north.
colder in the wintertime than I get here on the East Coast. But it's, I mean, it'll snow here in the wintertime, but it's not generally too cold. 6K, that's the B6. Yeah, I figured it was going to be in around that range. It's a 60-watt MOPA, so it's not going to be free, that's for sure.
The K40 Roger and I both reviewed, but that's a CO2 laser.
Yeah.
No, this is so Laser Tree makes a module, like it's a 40-watt diode laser module replacement. And for reasons I don't understand, they decided to call it a K40.
Yeah, that was a bad marketing decision there.
Yeah, so I mean, they work. So I like the 30-watt Laser Tree module was a great replacement for what was a 10-watt on an atom stack. They work fine, but you have to look at it and go, well, the rest of this laser is old, right? Or not the latest technology. So you have to really, like, you have to be really emotionally attached to a laser frame to want to swap the laser. And now if the laser module is dead and you don't want to budget for a whole new laser, fine. But just to swap it for more power, just sell it and buy another laser.
When you do a material test on products such as white tile, what determines the speed and power set you start with?
Okay, I can answer this. I just happen to have one of these laying here.
Yeah.
You run one of these tile tests, and then you
That's in
pick.
Lightburn.
Yeah, you pick which gives you the best. Well, it's hard to show here. Which
Hey,
gives
Roger,
you the best?
I'm gonna take this
determination.
off screen.
There we go. So there's the speeds and power. This is done with on an Atom Stack A9. So you pick out whatever gives you the best look, and then when you do your engrave, for example, we did 100 of these this week. These are actually going in a bar. Then everything will look good and everything will look the same. But you need to run this test. It's called the Nikki White or Nikki the white tile test, Nikki Norton white tile test. And you can actually download this Lightburn file off of internet. It's all over the place. You run the test and then choose your speed and power accordingly to how it turned out.
Well, he's definitely not an oil worker.
But maybe he's financing the oil.
But you see, he did come from Oil Town. Well, Calgary is really more Oil Town, but
he says, "Love the heat, no snow, less taxes." Sorry. Oh,
yeah.
Gotta go, guys. Gotta do adult shit.
Oh, that sucks.
She just got probably 100 subscribers out of that comment.
I liked how she edited her comment to, take away the profanity.
Yeah.
A railroad worker. Oh, there's a laudable career.
So
almost like you electrician guys.
So in our area, the railroad was pretty much dead, non-existent. They hadn't used it in over a decade. And then Canadian Railroad came out here and bought it. And it made so many people mad because, it wasn't being used to say 10, 15 years. People bought houses with being told like, oh, this is an abandoned railroad. And all of a sudden it's used on a regular basis. So surprisingly enough, Canadian Railroad said, if you reside your house, if you redo the installation or your windows, will reimburse you. So in other words, you can't complain.
Yeah.
So
we're nice that way.
But I know a lot of people did all of them. And the other people just complained. But if you had the money to shell out, they gave it back. All of it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the neighborhood changed drastically. I lived in Warrenville, Illinois at the time, and all of a sudden the neighborhood looked like from like 70s look to like pretty fancy.
modern day.
Yeah, aluminum siding, vinyl siding, aluminum windows, vinyl windows.
Yeah.
You know?
More importantly, we now own a part of your distribution channel. So behave. Otherwise, we'll clamp the vice.
Yeah.
No more shipments for you.
I
Yeah,
work
the
for
railroad
CN,
here
pounded
too is taking a pounding.
Yeah, I worked for CN and pounded spikes between Edmont and Terry every summer. Then got smart and moved up to a white hat. Nice one.
There you go.
So I climbed poles and jumped in holes, for 26 years, and I just became his shirt. So yeah, I hear you.
Well, this has always been a big rail area here. I mean, it's always been busy, but this is the area where the Rock Island Lines, which is no longer in existence, started.
Yep.
And another town here not too far over, the Silvis, they have a big rail yard there, and big roundhouse is still in use. And yeah, the Canadian Pacific comes through here a lot.
Yeah, they bought a couple of railroads down through the U.S. heartland over the last few years.
So to our point before, side hustles, what you do for a living versus what you do for a side hustle to make your cash or just an outlet. It sometimes surprises you what somebody actually does. Like I told you when I got that email from a lawyer's office, I was like, what is this?
Oh,
no. It was a laser question. I was like, what the heck? Someone's trying to sue me that I say something bad. You know what I mean?
Well, honestly, if I was a lawyer, I'd have to have something, a creative outlet.
Yeah. I lived all over Canada, Toronto, Montreal. Dad is from
I live just outside of Halifax.
Yeah. My mom's from BC. Very cool. Very cool.
And now we sold out.
So it looks like we have 7 people that entered into wanting to join the live stream. So I'm going to give it another chance that if anyone does want to join or wanted to be selected to be able to join our live, go ahead and write in the comments before hashtag Shop Talk Live.
Can you say that?
You will be automatically entered. Yeah, no. And believe it or not, this is only my second one. All that's famous.
Rick probably knows where Sudbury is. It's not too far from Elliott Lake.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I was saying when I went to Canada, I just installed the CB. We had this conversation before I did this big road trip. When I was in the stateside, it was like certain states were almost silent. And as soon as I pulled into Canada, it was like my radio never turned off, right? It was just everyone talking on it. It was definitely cool. But I was able to pass it to my son and let him be goofy on it. And of course, they hear a kid, so they're going to respond back,
Yeah.
But I kept hearing Canada, they were saying like, boy, you're stomping on everyone. What are you using? Because they're probably using like 12 or 13 watt CB, and I'm walking on with 110 watt.
Yeah, you're probably technically required a license for that.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
there we go. Check out Willow Tree's channel.
Yeah, guys, feel free.
Laser engraved canvas, cool.
Feel free, guys. If you guys are in the business, you're looking for customers, you're into laser engraving. We're not just here for advice. And hey, we get a lot of different people checking us out, so there's no hate. Go ahead and drop a link to your website or whatever, your YouTube channel, whatever. Feel free to do so. We don't have a problem with that. Hello from New Hampshire near the Canadian border. New to it all. Well, you made the first step.
Yeah.
You bought a laser. So what you buy?
And you can see paradise from your house.
Except
for taxes, of course.
I will say Niagara Falls. If I went on the United States side and I looked over down to Niagara Falls, I'd be so pissed. That was half of the falls fell off and they just left it.
Yeah. Oh, on the U.S. side, yeah, American falls, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it breaks off all the time. They actually, in I think '69, I was very young, but I remember when they turned it off, and because they had to clean a lot of that rock out of there, and they found bodies like you wouldn't believe in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, here we go. X tool.
Too old to do this. Oh, you're never too old for anything.
All right, so
X tool S1, not a bad laser. I like it.
all right, let me share my screen.
Sorry, I was overlooking at Willow Tree's site here.
Present, share screen, Streamyard. All right, so everyone can see my screen. All right, we got 8 entries. Let's go ahead and hit draw. Let's see who our winner is. Ooh,
Curtis.
Curtis, are you still? I like that. It looks pretty cool, actually. Curtis, are you still in? Are you still with us, Curtis? Comment in the comments below if you're still with us.
Now I feel old. To be fair, I was only 4 at the time, but
okay.
I remember looking across the river at the American Falls, and it was just turned off. And it's cool. Hey, there he is.
All right, Curtis, I'm going to send you my email address. Do me a favor and go ahead and send me an email, and I will quickly send you a link so that you can join us.
Comb your hair, put on some lipstick, join us.
Paint your toenails, whatever you're into. Hey.
Whatever floats your boat. So.
Well, this isn't the kind of channel where we can see people's toenails. Hopefully, anyway.
All right, so I'm logging in my email now so I can make sure I got that. Hey, what do you guys think of this this app? Think it's pretty cool?
It worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Just think that
it makes our contests easier too, right? We don't have to do the random scrolling.
The
high tech way.
It worked for the time being until we, and I knew that existed. I just wasn't sure how to use it yet. So let me know once you send me an email so I can be looking for it. But I'm logged in now, taking a peek.
Hitting refresh with anticipation.
Yep.
I keep eyeballing the sky here. Man, it's getting dark up there, and it's not because of the time of day. I think we're going to get it again here shortly.
Think so? It's coming down pretty good.
We're supposed to get thunderstorms here too, but a thunderstorm here is like one rumble of thunder and a flash of lightning, and that's kind of the end of it.
We've been getting just torrential downpours here every so often.
Yeah, it's the end of Hurricane Beryl, right?
Yeah, that was part of it.
It's supposed to arrive here tomorrow. But it's going north of us, so we probably won't even get rain.
So I recently turned down a pretty big sponsorship opportunity. And it just was because they seemed to be a pain in the ass. You guys ever done that?
It was OnlyFans. You should have told me. I could have put in a good word for you.
It's actually a pretty. Okay, I got it. I'm on a live suggestion for families.
Oh my God! At least you're calm, cool, and collected watching the live stream.
Here you go. I'm going to send him the live.
Yeah, here in the Midwest, when they issue a tornado warning, we don't go to the basement. We go outside with a camera.
Yep. My son gets so excited. My gosh.
I keep thinking, boy, if I could ever capture one of them, that'd make a really cool YouTube video.
only if you do the first person view, then it would be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
It would definitely go viral.
I got it. Hey, Curtis, still haven't got an email from you. I actually got a emo from a willow tree though. Facts.
Yeah. Hey, Marilyn, lurking in the shadows again tonight. I'm still waiting for the Acmer P3 laser. I think they got delayed. They were supposed to send it, I think, this week. But
Longer wants to send me a new B1 because the B1 I have was like their pre-release model. So things are a little different on that from the one I have.
Yeah, Longer's been doing the hard sell on me, man. They've every week I get email from them to say, hey, why don't you review a laser? It's like,
you know what's weird is I did the same thing and they're from 4 different people. It's not even the same person. From Longer?
Yeah.
It's like 4 different people from Longer.
Yeah, well, I think they have a marketing company working for them. Oh, speak of the devil, UPS is supposed to deliver something from China for me tomorrow. And it's got to be that laser because that's the only thing I'm waiting for.
Spent 4 hours in Northernville, Michigan. I'm good if I ever see the Midwest again.
I actually like it here.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm glad Hurricane, not to wish ill on people, but I'm glad Hurricane Beryl decided to take the path it did to get to me. Usually they come right up the coast and they're not fun when they arrive here.
So Roger, I guess we're the only ones who don't not hide in the basement. Good evening. Nothing yet from our guest, soon to be guest. Maybe he's getting polished up.
He might be putting his lipstick on, yeah.
Let me check my spam folder just to make sure.
Oh, that would be terrible if a viewer ended up in your spam folder.
Let's just check now. A teaser like 13 times.
Oh no. Marilyn, we have to talk.
Well, at least he has hair.
Yeah, well,
I'm lacking a little bit of that hair.
I don't have to hang it up at night or anything, so I was saddened when it turned white, but
look at this, Stevie with the women. I'm telling you,
I really do have to get that OnlyFans channel going, I guess.
Rick's channel is the
it'll
only
just be
one.
my hair.
Rick's channel is the only one of you I haven't watched. I'll get back right on that, Rick. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate the love. I don't have OnlyFans, but I do get in other things.
You make a hell of a coin, though.
Yeah, I've been kind of contemplating what I want to do next, but I think I shot my mouth off on that Aztec titanium coin.
Oh yeah.
So I think I got to try it. But I think I might try the Aztec coins on some of these cheapies and get the artwork down pat before I decided to ruin a very expensive coin, right?
Yeah, titanium isn't cheap, that's for sure.
He's actually in the guy who makes those coins. He's in China right now with OMG Laser. No, not OMG Laser. Yeah, OMG Laser. He's in China, OMG Laser, the owner of OMG Laser.
Yeah.
I see him posting Facebook pictures together. So, the laser manufacturers are friends with the people who, use stuff to make on their lasers. It's kind of fun.
It's a surprisingly small community. Yeah.
Yeah.
Photos on mirrors. Are you trying to do grayscale by any chance? Not like you need to. So on a mirror, you need to do a dithering pattern like Jarvis Jarvis is probably the best one.
I can't remember if I use Jarvis or Stucky. I've got a video just dedicated to that. I did a photo of my neighbor's car, which is not stock by any means, and did that on a mirror for him. And there's a whole video on it. It's all step by step. It's on my channel.
I think, Roger, how I first found your channel was because of K40 acrylic videos.
Oh yeah,
And then,
unicorns.
and then yep, and then I was watching you because the mirror videos, and then the slate coasters, and I was interested in doing those, and I was watching. I still haven't done any three of those, but you know, that's what first got me watching your channel.
So if you, so it's Jarvis, that's probably a decent one.
Yeah, it works out well.
If you want to sacrifice a piece of mirror, you can do a material test on it.
But here's the thing too, is that you can go to Dollar General,
yeah,
and buy a mirror. Now, I'm not saying that an expensive mirror versus that, but if you just want to start playing with something, because a nice mirror is not cheap. That's all I'm saying.
What I like to use quite a bit are the mirror tiles you buy at Menards. Those 12 by 12 mirror tiles, I do real well with those.
Okay. There you go. Inside tip. I've been scratching my head on getting really good quality engraved images on clear acrylic with my 80 watt what?
Well, it's a CO2. Okay. So you won't be able to do a grayscale on acrylic either, or with a CO2 laser for that matter. So you would have to use Jarvis, and again, just run material tests. Yep. That's the secret to everything. Pick a new material, run a material test. Should be the first thing you do.
And it doesn't have to be big. You can do it in just a small corner.
Yeah, I usually, when I'm first testing material, I make, I don't know, 4 millimeter squares, so they're pretty small. I mean, the whole material test is only a couple inches tall. So.
Yes, I've seen the video. Not very computer literate, as to no graphic design or laser experience.
You're what we call a blank slate. You got a lot to learn, but
yeah, that's the fun part, is taking that journey to learn it. I mean, everything has a learning curve.
Yeah, there's lots of help.
I think what's funny is that when you first make something, you think it's so great, and then months later, you're almost embarrassed.
Yeah, you look at it and go, yeah, I'm going to put that in I'm going to start a campfire or just a fire out in the fire pit in the back, and I'm going to burn
and I'm saying this because I don't want to discourage anyone any way. If you look at any one of our videos and you see something, you're like, oh my God, I can never make that. You don't know how many things I had to make to get to that level.
Yeah, I'm amazed. I have every once in a while, I have a big box that I just throw scrap in. It's like failed tests, and about 3 times a year I'll empty it, and it's just I look at it. It's like a historical dig, because I'll look at it and go, "Oh, I remember trying to do that." And this is the thing with, like, especially new materials. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. If it's a new material, it's new, and you're learning, right? So
for sure. Yeah, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. Don't get frustrated. You learn from every mistake. And also sometimes mistakes turn out good, because you're like, oh, I kind of like that.
I have numerous happy accidents. I have lots of unhappy accidents too. But
yeah.
It's always good. It's always good when you make a mistake and you go, oh, that's actually better than what I was thinking. Sorry, Roger.
I've got surprised a couple of times if something will turn out so good. Now I go, damn, how the hell did that happen? And I'm trying to remember what I did, because I didn't write it down.
Yeah,
it was just a test.
So
yeah, I find I make fewer mistakes on lasers. I make more mistakes on CNCs. I don't know if I ever showed the charcuterie board I made that had the happy accident handles. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, learning how not to do it. Yeah, you'll find a lot of that too.
Yeah, well, that's how you know you're still learning.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find one of these. I thought I showed this already, but
still no email from our guy.
There, let me share my screen here for a sec. So this was a charcuterie board. Well, this isn't the original one that I made the mistake on, but it has these pressed in handles, these inlay handles. Well, they're actually pressed in. It's because when I made the handles on one of these, on a CNC, you can cut inside the line, outside the line, or on the line. and I should have cut inside the line, and I cut outside the line. So I had these gigantic holes, and I looked at this board, not this one, but another one of these, for about a week deciding what to do with it. And somebody came into my shop and said, "Oh, just press handles into them." And oh, okay, that sounds fantastic. And this is how I make them all now. I don't make that many of these anymore, but I always press these handles in because people love them.
That's good.
So happy accident turned out okay.
Yeah. You learn from both good and bad. Exactly.
Yep.
I'm still waiting to learn from the good.
If anyone needs help on laser engraving canvas with a diode, I have an X-Tool D1 and an LM3 10 watt. There you go.
Yeah, canvas is a challenge for sure.
Especially if that canvas happens to come from Dollar Tree, because man, you can burn a hole in that real easy.
Yeah.
Guess how I know that?
It's all about being gentle.
Yeah. 60 watts, run it.
I saw Vintari on here. He did a painted canvas video with a bunch of people around a campfire. It looked really nice.
That's cool. Was it with the spray paint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you paint it the color you want underneath the engraving, underneath the surface, and then black, and then you engrave it, and you can do multiple colors too. I've seen people do them in layers, but this one actually just looked really nice.
So any upcoming projects you guys are going to be working on, or?
It's summer. I'm trying to take vacation. But no.
My biggest project here is going to be getting packed ahead to Mexico.
Nice.
I'm working on a design for a special ruler for a lady who runs a company that makes purses to cut them out. So it's a really intricate kind of ruler. It's kind of cool.
I thought you were going to say 3-inch rulers.
Well, it's 3 inches wide. You know, I'll send you a link to my OnlyFans channel. All right. Yeah, we've all done that.
Yeah, I think the material tests, yeah. I honestly, like something like that, there's definitely going to be a learning curve, but there's so many people on YouTube doing it, you can almost have a starting point, right? And then kind of dial your own in. Why beat your head against the wall when somebody else already done that? Hello.
Hey, Renato.
Where are you joining us from? Let us know, and if you have any questions, let us know as well. Yeah, so I think I have a box of fairly, I want to say like lop offs and leftovers. I'm going to pull that off and throw that on my workbench and go and try to use it all. We'll see.
Oh, Arizona is good and hot there.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, got people just joining now. Hey, Robert.
Robert, thanks for joining us. Hey, just everyone who kind of joined later in the live.
Hey, what happened to Curtis?
I don't know. We are on our 25th live, believe it or not. That won't by fast. What does it say? Time flies when you're having fun. On our 30th live, we're going to be doing a laser giveaway. So in order to be eligible to receive the laser, you'd have to subscribe to each one of our channels. You'd have to like one video on each one of our channels, comment on one video of each one of our channels, and share one video, at least one of our channels. So just putting it out there. So I know there's a lot of people that are joining our lives because they'd like to learn and they're still saving and they want to hit the ground running. Well, this may be an opportunity to get a laser and get started loose sooner than you thought. Key is to use images to material test on canvas. Fill squares don't produce same results. There you go. That's a tip.
Yeah. The intent though of a material test isn't. It's really just to get you into the ballpark, right? It's not to say here's the definitive setting. but it's the difference between going at 100% and 20%.
Right.
And whether it's 20 or 23 or 18, that's what you'll find when you actually do the image the right way.
Oh. Oops, we both did it at the same time. Go ahead.
Oh, now nobody's going to let Andy say hi.
Cheers, Andy. It's Modelo time. No, this is not a sponsored video, but I wish it was.
Oh, still in the box. A 60 watt is that's a Falcon 2 Pro, I guess. I don't think they make the 60 watt in the regular Falcon because it's just basically like a torch.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
There's Curtis. How come?
Hey, Curtis, how come I never got an email from you, brother? Did you email me? I don't want to share the link in the live, because then anyone who clicks on it can join.
It will have lots of people on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Roger has it. You got more like a barn or something, right? It's like a big building. It's not just
it's 24 by 36, 3-car garage with a 2-bedroom loft above it. I'm up in the loft right now, but every square inch of that lower level is used for something. I mean, I've gone over this before. I have everything on wheels because I have packed so much stuff in there. That, and I also store my forklift in there, so that takes up a lot of room.
Yeah. My workshop is 25 by 35 as well, but my above my head is just a loft for storing things. I would say to anybody who's building a building for a shop, 25 by 35, as Roger has certainly endorsed, is not big enough. Make it bigger.
Yeah. I took a quarter of my basement. I'm in my basement.
So what happened to Curtis? Is he going to send you an email?
I never got nothing yet.
Well, maybe
Curtis,
save him for next week, and we'll pick someone else.
All right, Curtis, we're gonna give you 1 minute. No email from you. Where did you? No, I'm not sending you an email. You need to send me an email.
Well, there's the problem. It's a communication problem.
I would have no way of knowing what your email was. Send me an email, please, and then I will send you a link. All right, I'll.
There you go. Ronaldo
there you
shop.
go.
If you're in Arizona, look for that.
Nice one.
Uh-oh. What gave it away?
So early on, I was saying, I was saying Canuck, right? And you were making funny how I was saying it.
Yes.
You're like, it's not how you say it.
Canuck.
Yeah. So it's very cool seeing everyone from all over the United States, Canada. We've got a lot of UK and Australian.
Early in the video, we get a few people from Europe before they fall asleep at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, it was the guy who used to. I didn't not on our live in the last 2 times, but he was from Australia. He used to join our lives quite a bit. And I think
there's a couple people from my channel who come once in a while.
2:30 in the morning, was Australian. He was joining our lives. And he did it pretty much back to back.
For me, well, I think it's like 9:30 in the morning in Australia right now, give or take. It might be 10:30 or 8:30, but
okay.
Because it's literally the opposite side of the planet for me. This is when I have to talk with people in China. This is the challenge, right? It's because I'm exactly 12 hours away, so one of us is falling asleep no matter what.
My wife sometimes would be like, "Who are you talking to?" Because it's 1:30 in the morning. I'm in bed with my phone plugged in. Like, it's not a chick. Trust me, it's not a chick.
Doing a deal on a laser.
Yeah. I started with a small 3D print farm using, I don't even know how to say that.
Dick.
I'm not familiar with the brand, so
Yeah, I'm not either.
and I've got a lot of 3D printers.
Then diode lasers, not the NCO2 lasers.
Yeah, diode
Fibers
lasers
next
to
to
the
the
gateway laser.
Yeah.
Yep.
CO2, yeah.
Welcome to the addiction.
Yeah, and definitely fiber. After fiber, then you go UV.
Yeah. I'll be getting the Carbion Air in November.
Carvera Air. Uh-oh.
Nice.
Curtis is giving us a... Well, set Curtis up for next week then.
All right, Curtis. We're gonna
do
do.
another
Let
draw.
me share my screen, and we'll pick the next person on the list. Hold on. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, lines matter. So the rough gauge. So if you're using Lightburn, use the interval instead of the lines per inch. It's just easier. And the rough measurement is take the height of the spot of your laser, which is typically 0.1, 0.15, somewhere in there, and set that as your interval, and it'll get you right in the range. You can usually go a little higher than that so that you are sure there's a bit of overlap, but start with that and you'll get rid of the graininess.
All right, I apologize, everyone. It looks as if our winner is having some technical difficulties. So if you would like to be able to join, unfortunately, I closed out the previous selection. So the people who previously entered, I don't have them on there anymore. So if you want to enter, please do go ahead and write in the comments below, Shop Talk Live, and you will be in the drawing to be able to enter our live today with us. So if that's something of interest to you, please do me a favor and go ahead and put that in the comments.
Well, I've converted a couple of my Ender 3V2s to Marlin with touchscreens with the kits that are available from Big Tree Tech. If anybody wants to do that, I did a video on how to do it. It's not really hard. You just have to 3D print your own enclosure for the touchscreen. So you want to do that before you tear your printer down.
All right, here they come. Here they come, guys. Thank you.
Oh, just me. You gotta use the exact hash code that's up in the scroll.
Yeah, you have to actually put it like exactly like it's showing in the ticker. Otherwise, it won't count.
Pound Shop Talk Live.
Got to have that hashtag in there.
Yeah.
It won't count you if you don't put it exactly like that. So,
and it's out of our hands.
Sorry, guys.
It's out of our hands.
Yeah. And we won't lie, it does help our algorithm a little bit. So thank you as well. So
and no spaces. Shop Talk Live. All one word. There you go.
There you
Robert,
go. There
that's
you
the
go.
right
There you
one.
go. Exactly like this. Come on, guys. Exactly like this. One of my trucks, it's slammed to the ground, and from the front to the back is raked with flames. And I swear to God, every car that goes past my house, because that truck's outside, they have to just lay a patch in front of my house. And people come over our house, they're like, dude, what's with the people how they drive? I'm like, it's just in front of my house. Like, I think I need to move that truck so you can't see it from the street, because in front of my house it looks like a drag strip. I swear to God. Shot Time Live. There you go. Oh, it was not a user error. Hey, we had selected a winner, and he forfeited his entry today for another day. So
yeah, well, we'll keep his place for next week.
11 entries so far. Thank you guys. Keep going. Keep them coming. We're gonna leave it open for, let's say it's 7:35. I'll give it 5 more minutes to 7:40, and then we'll go ahead and pull randomly that person. And then I will provide and share my email address. You have to email me so that I can email you a link.
But only if you win.
Yes. It
Well,
will not
it's not really a
post the link.
contest. You have
Yeah,
to
we'll
talk
not
to
post
us,
the
so
link
you don't
in the-
really win anything.
Yeah, if I post the link in the description, in the comments, then I'm sure we'll get a ton of people joining. Very cool, very cool. 13 people so far. That's very cool. Thank you guys. So they're coming.
Wow, these are some new people.
Yeah.
Vern is new.
Yeah. We're watching you guys, so we're all winners in respect.
Oh, appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's see how many we're up to here. 14 entries. Very cool.
Couple more minutes.
Yeah. 4 minutes to go, guys. 4 minutes to go. If you want to join us in the live, go ahead and put the Shop Talk live. Just like it's showing in the ticker below. It's very cool. This is a good idea, I think. I think this is something we can do randomly. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we had also talked about to start inviting other YouTubers to be guests. So I think I will start inviting, and you guys are also always as well as welcome. If you have anyone who would like to be a guest on our channel, feel free to.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on the live that have YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Marilyn's out there. There's well, now Jay. Well, she's
15?
gone now. She had to go do adult stuff, but
I told you she probably got 100 subscribers out of that post.
probably means she had to go feed the kids.
You can put it as many times as you want. It's fine. It will not disqualify you. So feel free. There's actually
but it won't increase your odds.
Yeah, there's actually an option that you can select to only allow you to enter once, or as many times you type it as the entries. So
which option did you pick?
I chose to only allow you to enter once.
Oh, yeah.
But we may change it.
The great equalizer.
15 people entered so far. We got 3 minutes to go.
Gord, don't you have a YouTube channel? I'm sure I've seen.
I have it right now where if you enter it more than once, it's only going to accept it once. But I think on the next one, we'll do it just as many times you do it, as many entries you get. So then we'll just flood the comments.
Yeah, let's not do that.
It'll help the algorithm.
Well, that's true. Let's cook the algorithm.
Galloway Lights.
Huh.
Yeah, so that's a YouTube channel right there. That's very cool.
Yeah,
2 minutes.
Every time I see one of these, I go look up the channel and save it for later.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out this M1 Ultra while watching. See, this is why you should enter the live. You could just show us. We can help you at the same time. Yeah, how you like that one?
Oh, you got an M1 Ultra. They look cool. You're probably the perfect demographic for that. It's not really for me because I'm not all that crafty. Okay, I'm not crafty at all. I'll just say it. No, it's really, the M1 Ultra is really designed for people that do, they want to do some laser engraving, they want to do some vinyl cutting, just have a general purpose tool. And I think it's gonna really hurt Cricut for sure, but a lot of those kind of side tools.
Roger, you want to take this? You actually just made a video on this, right? The unicorn one.
I don't do it. People have done it. There's some guys out there on their channels I watched, and actually, it's just not worth it. It's cheaper to just buy it than to create all the equipment, go through all the work of making it, and then you have the. It has to be accurate. I mean, if you start getting globs or waves in your filament, it's not going to go through the extruder properly. So, no, I just buy mine.
Yeah, I've looked at trying to maybe build a filament recycler, but
I saw this YouTuber using the plastic caps on the top of pop bottles.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
He was melting them, making all kinds of cool stuff.
You can also use nylon filament like you use in your weed eater to get the right diameter.
I've done this. I've actually taken the closest to what is it, 0.03, 0.04 filament, and there's I think it's the blue filament for weed eaters is very close.
Okay, so it's 141. We're
smaller.
1 minute past. So let me go ahead and share my screen.
I used to have a nylon cube that I used made out of weed eater filament.
17 entries. Let's go ahead and do our drawing.
There we go. And oh, hey, willow tree.
Willow Tree Woodworking. Well, actually, you emailed me, so I already have your email address. So funny enough.
So there you go. See, you are a psychic.
So yeah, very cool. Let me send you the link.
Yeah, this is I mean, this is good feedback, right? Because a laser really isn't the cleanest environment for anything, right? Because by the time you're done cutting anything on a laser or engraving, it's full of dust. But that would probably impact cardstock in a bad way for sure if it's white.
Sweet Jesus.
Yes.
All right, I fired off the email to you. You should get a link. Go ahead and click on the link. If you have a YouTube channel, you actually have the option to go live on your channel as well at the same time while you're live with us, not just live on our own. So if everyone's not already aware, if you're watching us on Twitter, if you're watching us on TikTok, you watch us on Instagram, you watch us on Facebook, you watch us on YouTube, we're live on every single one of our own channels at the same exact time. So however you decided to join us, I thank you and appreciate you for joining us.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with using nylon, whether it be not regular nylon or weed eater line, is you got to make absolutely sure it's dry. If there's any moisture in it at all, you'll have blisters everywhere.
Yeah. When I did my nylon test with weed eater line, I put it in my dehydrator for about 3 days just to make sure, because it was just stuff I pulled off the roll out of my shop. So
wow.
Now, speaking of weed eater line, if you want to make your weed eater line last longer, keep it in water.
Yep, soak it in a 5-gallon bucket.
Yep.
Aloha from Hawaii. See, Roger, your next
man.
trip has to not be to Mexico. You have to join us from Hawaii. Have you ever used filament splicer? And if you have, can you splice different colors?
I have never done it. Of course, I've got a X-Carbon. I can change colors anytime I want, right in mid-print. But
what was that? There used to be a thing that would roll out the filament colors, and it would actually splice them together. What was that thing?
I regularly remember seeing that.
Yeah. It seemed like a good idea at the time until they figured out how to actually do a multicolor extruder. But
yeah, probably. Again, then if you just don't have the funds.
Al didn't win, so he's leaving. There you go. Now we're gonna have to allow 2 people to come for these things.
Night Owl, good job again.
See you, Al. Come back next week. Try again. I think we should do this every week. I think.
You think so? I think it's cool.
Yeah,
I think it's cool.
Once we get the kinks out of the process here, it'll be better.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh yeah,
I'm waiting for this face to pop up in the bottom here.
I was looking at this one, the MIG welder filament.
Oh,
you're gonna need one heck of a hot extruder for that.
yeah.
Oh, here we are.
Hey, there he is.
Bam. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Oh.
Ah, there you go. Are those metal?
They're wood.
Oh, it sounded kind of metally when you were
What is going on here?
rubbing them together.
Well, that's kind of the idea, right? Is to come up with something that's somewhat metal, but you can make it out of wood.
Yep.
And since
Oh,
we
wow.
just had Canada Day, I had to create something for Canada Day, and then I also created something.
And they make great ninja throwing stars too.
So what did you make that on?
This is on my 80-watt CO2.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Once you've had your fill of a diode laser and you go to CO2, it's a whole world of difference.
It's kind of like everything, right? You kind of grow from you start off with the 3D printers, which, I looked at the Enders and then the Big Qs. And so I thought, well, hey, I'll do a 3D print farm with that. So I bought 3 of those, and then I went to diodes, and then I went to CO2. Now I'm going to fiber. Now I'm going to CNC. So it's like, you have a woodworking channel, but everything I'm doing is non-woodworking, because all the work I do is live edge tables, and that's a lot of work to film and put up on YouTube.
Yeah. And if that's what you're doing, it's the same video every week, right?
Right. Plus, I can't compete with a guy out of Seattle that does the same thing who sells them for like $20,000. So
yeah,
I figure, I'll let somebody else go look at his channel. I'll offer him for $10K and steal his business.
So tell us about yourself. Where you're from. I know we were kind of chit-chatting in the live here, but do you mind introducing yourself to the channel, and what type of business you own, what you do, and where you're from? And
yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from Canada. I was born and raised in Canada, lived all across the country from British Columbia all the way out to Toronto, Halifax, Montreal. Met my wife in Winnipeg, Manitoba, who is an American, who was up there to kind of help consolidate CN Rail's customer service. So got married, had our son there, moved down to the States in 98. So I've been down here since. Moved to Colorado because originally I was a software developer. And so I came down for the Y2K buzz and did a bunch of programming on that. And then I moved from that into, being a financial product manager. And then I switched careers for 3 years. I went back into medicine for 3 years as a surgical PA in neurology and ortho and what have you. And then I was I wasn't making a ton of money on that. So I went back to doing software. And then really my side hustles really started when my kids were young, like when they were 15, 16. It was kind of a way that I would take, $60 worth of wood in the summertime, and I would allot it to my kids. And I'd say, okay, let's go design a project. We'll build it together. I'll help you guys build it, but you market it, you sell it, and whatever you make from it, that's your money to spend in the summer. And sometimes they'd make like $600-700 in the summertime, and
awesome.
13, 14 years old, that was a lot of money for them. So that's really kind of how it started. And then I started getting a lot of people coming to me and saying, hey, can you build, the big farmhouse craze went out. And so I built tables and dining tables and coffee tables and did the whole epoxy thing. And really, my day job is as a financial exec, I manage financial software for Charles Schwab here in the States. So, but I've always, been kind of a blue collar guy, I guess, so to speak. So my woodworking and my laser engraving is kind of my side hustle, or my side get away from, the financial side. So, so I started up a YouTube channel when I got my diode laser, because a lot of people said, hey, I love how those laser engraved canvases that you do turn out. And so, I did some YouTube videos on that instead of answering a bunch of questions. And that's kind of what I've been doing since. So that's my evenings and weekends. And I live here I just moved out to a little small farm community called Jarrell, Texas, which is about 50 miles north of Austin, Texas. And so, it's nice and hot out here, but I got a nice little country place out here, which I love. And eventually I'll build a barn-dough and build a shop right here.
Cool.
So if I got a snicker or a smile on my face as you're telling your story, it's because I'm looking at the Brady Bunch look of our chat here, and this side of the live, Roger and I are the IBW guys, and that side of the live, as you're telling your story,
the software guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Stanley
Very-
Cup,
very
I had to
similar
cheer on my
background.
Oilers, even though I live here in the States. You know, everybody's like, "You're really going to cheer on the Oilers and not Tampa?" I'm like, I grew up in Edmonton. I watched them win 5 Stanley Cups. Of course, I'm going to cheer them on, whether they win or lose. You know,
It's so close.
it was so close, and I was like, right there on the verge.
Next year.
Next year, yeah.
So I have to ask, whose live did you join? It doesn't matter, but I'm just curious.
I don't. I just joined. I just clicked the link and typed in my info. I don't think it actually asked specifically which one to join.
No. I mean, initially to actually join our live, how you're.
I think I saw it come up. I think I joined Steve's maybe.
Nice.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah.
Canadian. That's why.
'Cause I watch Steve all the time. I've watched Roger a few times.
Speak-
You know, 'cause I
speak
see
the
some of
same
the stuff that
language.
Roger does, and so it's kind of like I kind of go to whatever, you know, whenever I Google something on YouTube for, you know, how to do a laser engrave or how to do tile or how to set up templates or what have you, and it's just, you know, a lot of times it comes up either Steve. And as soon as I see Steve, I'm like, well, there's my fellow Canuck, so of course I'm going to go to his channel. And then I see Roger's stuff, and yeah, but I've never seen yours, Rick. I'm like, how do I
Okay.
know? And then I see all these fiber lasers behind you, and I'm like, how did I never come across that guy's channel?
Yeah. People ask us all the time how we got started, and I say it's because I was fans of them before they knew of me.
Yeah.
No,
I
so
got
that's-
started because I was a software developer too.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
need an
see, I
outlet.
started off as a software developer in Canada and came to the States for Y2K, and you know, I program in virtually every language except for C++ and C#. So I was a Java developer for many, many years, and then I was like, okay, it becomes like a young man's game where you spend more time trying to keep up with the changes in software than actually programming. And when you
Yeah.
get to that stage, it's like, okay, now I need to cross the line and go to the business side and start to be a product manager.
Or become a manager.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was a CIS major, and I switched to a TCOM guy, you know, then became a lineman. So I did COBOL and C++ and Java. Yeah.
You should have stayed a COBOL programmer, man. Those guys make tons of money.
See, I went to school in Canada for linguistics because I, you know, as a programmer, everything in Canada is French and English. I don't know if it's still like that, but everything we had to program in Canada when I started was like had to be in French and English. So I went to the University of Winnipeg and took French as a second language, and that's what I got. You know, that's what I got my education in, and then I went back to school when I came to the States.
French is probably not that useful in Texas.
No.
You could
But I
probably
do still, you know, I still talk to my kids every once in a while in French, and of course, you know, I make comments about my ex-wife in French, so which is always helpful because she doesn't
you
understand.
still have the accent though a little bit. I still hear it.
Yeah,
I bet
but
you
yeah,
can't
it's
say
definitely
about
hot
how.
down here.
Now, looking at the comment here for Gord Rock, good luck with your chemotherapy.
Yeah.
That's a tough road.
Yeah. So hey guys, you know, we don't always preach, but if you have a moment of time to say a prayer for our brother Gord Rock for a speedy recovery, I would appreciate that. You know, the power of prayer. They say when you pray in 3 or more, the Lord is there. So appreciate if you got a moment to say something for him. A speedy recovery for our brother Gord Rock. Prayers with you, brother. Hope you do well.
Yeah, and you took Marilyn's comment down here. Yeah. So diode lasers, I mean, they're a good place to start. So lots of people, I mean, I do a lot of diode laser reviews and stuff because that is where people first part with their money, right? And
Yep.
Because not everybody's gonna jump out and grab a $5,000 laser. So
Yeah. And I think if you decided like I don't like this, you wouldn't be so upset. Versus
it's much easier to put a diode laser
in
in the back of the closet than a CO2 laser.
Right, you know, you spend $500, you're like, yeah.
My
Not my cup of tea.
CO2 laser is a floor model. I guess yours is too, right? You have a mom port, you said?
Yeah, I have them on port 80 watt. So
Yeah, that's not a portable laser either.
No. But you know, I think the catch is people grab the diode lasers to kind of get started because you see all these channels or a lot of people talk about, hey, you can start a small business with just a diode laser, you know, cutting out Christmas ornaments and bookmarks and doing this kind of stuff. And I think people get into that and they start up, you know, an Etsy store and what have you, or try and sell something locally on Facebook Marketplace. And then, once they get a little taste of success, they think, wow, what else can I do? And then you start getting into the fiber lasers or into the desktop CO2s. And then, if you're really adventurous and you do want to spend $6,000-7,000, then you're jumping into the floor model CO2s, right? So, but it's a big leap when you're doing that as a side hustle to try and determine, am I going to make my money back on that or not, right?
Yeah,
so
it's a good way to get divorced. Yeah.
Exactly.
I
Wasn't the reason I got divorced, but
I keep saying I'm going to remake the meme. There's this Mexican guy. He always shows something, and his wife says, "How much did you pay for that?" He's like, "They gave it to me. They gave it to me." I don't know if you've ever seen it. Oh, they're just going to give you that. They gave it to me. I keep saying I'm going to remake that meme because every time a box shows up, even though it's free, you buy things to go with it, right? Like, I made this fan over here, and then you're doing exhaust outlets, and then you're buying blanks, and there's nothing, even if it's free, it's not free, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the materials. Well, actually, I get a lot of materials sent to me too, but I work with a lot of acrylic and stuff, and acrylic is not real cheap. I found a couple of cheaper places, but hey, I love my longer Ray 5 too. I still
buy the cheap little what are they, like 6x6 squares on Amazon for like $9 or whatever. They're like 1/8 inch squares of acrylic, which are perfect for people that are that don't want to go out and spend money on like a 12x24 sheet of acrylic, which costs you like $30 or $50 after shipping, etc. Whoever you buy from. So those $8.99 6 packs of them that you can get on Amazon, they're great for testing out. That's what I just kind of ran through. That's why I said I'm kind of scratching my head, because I ran through those and I got 2 really good successful ones and 4 really bad ones. And I'm like, okay, I know how to set this up. How can I get 2 good ones and 2 really bad ones? And it really comes down to how you kind of set out that image, right? Like you were saying, you can't really do grayscale on a CO2. It doesn't turn out so well. It just melts the plastic.
Yeah, it's the one place where diode lasers rock. Like they just do great grayscale, right? And
well, even canvas engraving too, like a lot of people are doing the slate tiles or the white tiles and what have you. Those are amazing to do on a diode laser, especially the canvases. I tried to replicate what I do on diode for canvas on a CO2. It just was impossible. I burned right through it. Like within seconds, I just burned right through. So
So it's like fly fishing. In your will, you'll tell your wife not to sell the gear for what you said you spent on it.
That's true. That's true.
I said I was going to put a sign on my shop wall that said that. My only fear is my wife will sell this for what I told her I paid for it. I bought my daughter a 4-wheeler one time, and she says, "How much was that?" I said, $800. She believed me for years until someone said, "Hey, she doesn't ride that anymore. You should sell it to me." I gave her like $500. I said, "It was like $4,000. What are you talking about?" My wife was like, "It was what?"
Whoops.
That's funny, but yeah.
So canvas is one of these things where it's a good place to be if you want to make a bit of money, because it's hard to work with. Like you just can't do it instantly, and not a lot of people do it. So, slate coasters, they're done to death, right? But lots of people, could be doing canvas because it isn't all that. There's not that many people doing it because it's harder.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I do them for friends and family and people that I know locally, but I've never advertised them on my Etsy store to like do laser engraved canvases, because it can be subjective, right? Even though I've probably done 50 of them recently that I mastered them, like they turned out perfectly. But you get somebody that sends you an image that's not a great image, and you try and laser engrave that, and you throw it onto a canvas, and it comes out and looks like dirt. It's like, you can't, and I just don't want to take that risk of like somebody paying me money and I go to engrave it for them, and it just doesn't. I'm not happy with the quality of it, let alone to charge somebody for it and end up having to refund them. So
yeah, and I think that's a big difference too with using your own artwork versus provided artwork. You don't ever know what you're going to get, right? That's a big difference.
I've run into that on quite a few different things that we do, where the customer supplies the image, and I tell them right up front, if the image is not good, it's not going to come out good. And if the people in it are ugly, when I make it, they're still going to be ugly. That's going to change.
Well, and then if you go down the path of telling them, hey, I spent $500 on Photoshop so I can, fix up your image for you and make it look great and engrave it, but it's going to cost you another $50 for me to do the work on your image just to be able to engrave it. And to me, it was just not a great biz model.
The whole setup thing is an aspect that people seem to struggle with.
Yeah.
Like I'll do something and people go, it's only $10 worth of acrylic. I'll give it to you and just do the engraving. Yeah, but it's an hour or two of my design time to make it work. Yeah. So you're paying for a setup charge. If you want to buy 2 of them, the second one will be $5, but the first one's going to be, $100.
Well, I think that's key too, that people don't realize when they get into, these, you go watch these videos and people, get really bored with what they're doing or what have you. And they think, hey, I'm just going to go buy a diode, because you watch these YouTube channels and people make it look so simple, right? Because I mean, that's kind of the thought behind when we put a video out, is we don't want it to look like it's a challenge for somebody to do it. We're there to help them kind of figure it out and get through it pretty easily. But then when they get it themselves and they get that diode laser and they don't realize the amount of work that goes into setting up their graphics or setting up their template or, adjusting focus and speed and power and all that other stuff. I see so many people get frustrated with that and they sell their lasers because they just can't figure it out.
Yeah, part of that is YouTubers like us being bad at our jobs, I guess. But part of it is how laser companies sell lasers too, right? They sell them like they're toasters.
Right.
You just have to push a button and some magic will happen. And it's a terrible place to be for somebody who's completely new, right? They're just going to get bombed.
We're very transparent. One of our lives, though, we all shared our wall of shame. It was just everything that looked like crap. We brought all kinds of stuff out. I showed things were burnt and burned through, and we showed everything.
I could show some of that stuff every week.
and it was because I brought the subject up because there was a woman who actually messaged me and she said that she was trying to reduplicate some of my work and that and kind of steal my artwork, so to speak. But she had convinced her husband that if she was to finance and buy something, that she'd have the ability to pay it off. And it was going into the 3rd month and she wasn't making any money at all and really horribly learning how to use the laser. So kind of nice to tell me, like, can I have your artwork and can you help me reduplicate what you did? And what it was is I was staining white and she was assuming it was painted white, and that was like the first mistake, and it was just a domino effect of things. So that kind of inspired me to bring that up one of our lives, and we all start showing things, and we're like, hey, just because we don't always show these doesn't mean that doesn't happen, right? And there is trial and error and there is a learning curve for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned this to me, Rick, I think last week. One of the things I try to do is either obviously talk about the settings or if somebody needs to know something, it's not like an inner secret, right? If somebody says, hey, what were the settings on that? I'll try to find them because, it's just, you can't leave people hanging like that, right? And I know there are lots of channels who just go, oh, we'll push some magic button and we'll get this fantastic thing out. Yeah, but there was probably 3 hours of work doing material tests to make that happen.
Right.
My wife makes fun of me because I do a project and I write this down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have something similar to that.
You know what I mean? This notebook is like
I use the notebook application on my computer.
There you go, exactly.
I use these little cheat sheets that kind of tell me, like, based on whatever kind of laser I have. You can see that. But if you have like a 60 watt and 80 watt exact, etc., it tells you like, thickness and whether you're engraving or whether you're cutting and you're doing leather and what have you. So
I even made these for the long terms.
Yeah, see, and they're great to have, and I think that's what people
can tell you're a manager,
work to get to that point, and then they spent 3 hours trying to figure it out, and then they forgot what they did. So my biggest suggestion to people is, like, as you're going through, make sure you label your work or write down what it is that you did. Keep really good track of your tests, because if you get something successful, then you can go back and replicate it.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be born, I guess, with a bit of an eidetic memory. So I for a long time I didn't write anything down but I would just remember it. But then when people started asking me, the cruise control just stopped working at that point, and it's like, well, geez, I don't know. I just kind of push some buttons and it happens. So I've started to write things down more now.
Yeah, and I show in my videos, you know, for canvas engraving, I show all of my settings that I'm doing. Like, here's my power, here's my speed. I did a video that shows, you know, right from the start, like, here's the canvases that I buy. I go to Michael's and I get this sick pack. Here's the paint that I buy. This is how I set my canvas up, let it dry overnight. This is how I set up my images. You know, like, it's a whole step-by-step process. And I've had a lot of people come back to me and say, you know, that seriously helped me out to really engrave really nice canvases. So, I mean, you go to my channel and you look at some of the work that I've done on there. I mean, even I'm blown away when I look at it sometimes and go, wow, I actually did that? Holy cow.
Yeah. we were just talking about surprise mistakes, right?
Yeah.
No.
So Gord, to answer your question here, the P2, it does have liquid cooling, but it's all enclosed. So I mean, you fill up the tank and that's kind of it, right? It's not like you have a big vat of water sitting around that's going to get knocked over or something.
Yeah.
When you have a larger laser, like, well, certainly my 90 watt, but your Monport probably also has a chiller that's external from the laser.
Yeah. My K40 is a chiller.
Yeah,
Sure
then you have the option of spraying some water in places, but you keep the chiller on the floor. It's not so bad.
Well, the nice thing about the Monports too is they come with internal chillers or external.
Yeah.
So, and usually, you know, the external chiller is going to be much cheaper. You know, you're going to save yourself $500 or $600 on a big CO2 laser by getting an external chiller. So that's what I did. I originally I had ordered the one that had the internal one, and then it was on back order, and so I changed and went and got that. And I did have the Monport. I see, Rick, you got the 40 watt there. I did have that before, and the bed size on that of 8x12 just didn't work for me at all. I found that completely useless. Like, I couldn't do anything with the 40 watt laser and an 8x12 bed.
Yeah, that was my frustration with the 40 watt too.
Yeah, Monport gave me the 40 watt, but I said that I would only do the 40 watt review if they were going to give me a new fiber laser that they were coming out with. And then they never gave me the fiber laser, so I stopped making videos on the K40. I still made videos for myself, but I didn't. I always say, like, doing reviews on equipment are kind of like boring, right? Because you have this punch list of things they want you to do. Once you're past that, when you're just being creative with the laser itself, and just making things with it, I think people who already, I think the review videos are people who are interested in buying it, and then the videos after, people who already have it, right? Because they're like, okay, I have it now. How the hell do I make this work? So it's just a different type of viewer.
Isn't that funny how you don't see a lot of the post reviews? Like, you know, you see the review videos up front, which snags people in to go buy these machines. But then, okay, well, how's it working a year or two later for you? I mean, I never did an update video on the 40 watt, but if I had done an update on the video on the 40 watt, I would have said I used it 3 times and sold it, because I just couldn't. There was nothing I could do with it. Had the power, but didn't have the right size for me to really do anything.
Yeah, it's when I built my 90 watt laser, I wanted something big. That's why it's got a 2x3 foot workspace, because I had a 40. Well, I had the full spectrum laser, 40 watt laser, and I like it. Like, it's a nice laser. I still have it, but I think it was the second job I had to do with it was bigger than the workspace. So I said, I got to do something else. And I hate turning down work because the tool is not right.
Well, and I mean, the big lasers like what we have, you know, they have the pass-through, so you can do pretty much an infinite size of sign, but the amount of work that goes into setting up reference points to do a sign that's, you know, my 80 watt CO2 is 24 by 36, and I get a lot of people that come to me and say, hey, can you do like a 42-inch sign for me? I'm like, the amount of work for me to set up pass-through to add those few extra inches is just not worth my time and effort, you know, unless you want to pay another.
Yeah, the way I normally tell people to make those signs is I'll cut out the letters and we'll put them on a big flat sheet of plywood rather than trying to engrave.
So Steven said that did Daniel shave his beard?
What? Oh, now he has to come and visit.
No, because our special guest today.
Oh.
They said
oh.
right, because when someone has such a big beard, you really don't know what they look like, right? They have this huge beard. It's kind of like hiding their whole face. That people are thinking
he
you're
does have that
Daniel.
Bushman kind of look to him.
Is there a way to share a photo on here of a project I'm working on?
Not for
no.
a viewer.
Yeah, you could probably maybe share Dropbox links to something. If you upload an image to Dropbox.
30,000 people banging on it all day tomorrow.
Well, if you post it on Facebook, you can post a link as long as you post it public. You can put it in the comments and someone can see it. There you go. That's an easy way to share.
There you go. So yeah, you can't have all these toys and not play with them. So you're just gonna have to give up your day job. Well, that's what I did. My day job was bothering me, so I said, "That's it. I'm gonna quit, and I'm just gonna do my own thing full time."
I'm retired and still don't have time to play with all my toys.
Well, that's why Steve started the OnlyFans, but
yeah, that's the thing that really pays the bills.
We do not have a Discord. You know, people have asked me about that. I don't really know what I would do with that.
Honestly, I hate Discord. It's such a terrible user interface.
I don't know. It feels
it's just a chat platform, really. Unless you're doing, the latest thing is like AI that you can do through Discord and.
Yeah, but see, that's like the worst use of a chat tool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I would do it, to be honest with you.
There you go. Not that long COVID is a fun thing, but
yeah.
My wife.
I think
just
COVID's still kicking our butt.
Oh yeah, it's still around. My wife just had it first time.
No, but I'm thinking even not just being sick. I'm saying our world has permanently changed. It's not back to the way it was before. It's permanently changed. You know, I used to say I'd laugh at these people from China that you'd see them in Chicago and they'd have these masks on. You're like, why are they wearing
everybody
a mask?
does that, yeah.
You know, and it's like, why are they wearing a mask? Now we're like, yeah, they knew something we didn't know. They're already dealing with this long before us.
I still see people here in Austin wearing masks and stuff. And my ex-wife, my daughter, and my son both just had COVID. All of them had COVID last week.
Yeah,
definitely sick from it too. They're like really sick from it.
I'm a laser tractor pull plaques this year from our tractor club. Only 120 of them. Been a fun project. Very cool.
Only 120?
Yeah.
That's well beyond my maximum output for any project.
Well, I did 100 tiles this week, and it's showed earlier, and it's all the same thing, all exactly the same image.
Who I've been actively pursuing is Wazer. You guys know Wazer?
Wazer?
Yeah, it's like a water CNC laser cutter.
Like a water cutter.
Water plasma cutter.
Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
I keep looking at those going, man, those would be kind of cool. But talk about having water in your shop.
Yeah. They have a very small.
Those things are like standing beside a waterfall.
Yeah, they have water. Here you go. A water jet. Boom. Yeah.
I think the plasma cutters are really awesome, but for me it's like that's a big expense too, right? So it's either, especially if you're a woodworker, it's like CNC is far more better than the plasma cutter. But I came across a guy who did some table bases for me, and he's a metal worker, welder kind of guy, and he also does plasma work. Well, he has like a stencil that he sprays over top of this like 18 cage steel or whatever, and he does like family tree kind of stuff or the tree of life kind of stuff. And basically he puts this template on there and he sprays it with paint, and he has a freehand plasma cutter, and he just freehand cuts that whole thing out in like minutes. Crap. And then he takes them off to a guy and he spends like $30 to have them powder coat, and he sells them for like $600.
Nice.
He has a plasma cutter, but not a powder coater.
Nope. Well, he's
nobody moves, nobody gets hurt.
I think he's like 82 or 83.
Wow.
I mean,
good for him.
He basically sits there, you know, like an old Canadian with cigarettes hanging out of his mouth and his plasma cutter in his hand, and he's just like, you know, over top of an old barbecue that he cut up and put a grid on. And
wow.
I never seen people roll their cigarettes until I moved to Canada. I was like, I
never saw people roll cigarettes.
Yeah, until I moved to Canada, I was like, what? You roll your own cigarettes?
Well, they're probably joints. It's legal here.
No. It was cigarettes. It was cigarettes. I've seen people roll joints before, but I never seen anyone roll their own cigarettes. I moved to Canada. I was actually like, wow.
The funny thing I heard
very Quebec thing
in Canada is like the amount of people that smoke in Canada actually increased when the prices of cigarettes went up. And I was like, because all my dad's side of the family, of course, they're all blue collar, right? So they all had like cigarettes hanging out of their mouth, and they smoked like 4 packs of like players playing all day, And as prices went up, smoking increased, which totally blew my mind, because I think last time I was there, it was like $18 for a pack of cigarettes. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Steve, I have a longer B1.
So I've never smoked a day in my life, so I'm kind of glad of that.
Yeah, and the longer B1, if it doesn't hone to the exact place, is that happening on the X or the Y? Because it sounds like you may have a bad limit switch. Because I've replaced limit switches on not just lasers, but 3D printers are all kind of the same little funky piece of plastic with a little metal arm on it. And they do fail, and they can get weird on you. Yeah. And if that happens, it won't home the same place. That's why I ask if it's on the X or the Y.
Yeah, someone else asked me about this with the B1. I don't know. It might have been Steven. I don't know. A while back, and I went and tried mine, and it was perfect. So I couldn't understand it. I thought maybe it was just a loose belt or something, skipping a tooth, maybe. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty unlikely, but.
In fact, I do have one of the 3D printers that's behind me. I need to replace the Z-axis limit on it because it doesn't home in the same place every time. I know it's a limit switch because I've been through this so many times. And you can buy 10 limit switches for a few bucks on Amazon. They're all pretty much the same.
I was going to say get some contact cleaner, but it's probably a can of contact cleaner is probably about 5 times as much as the limit switches. So.
Yeah, they're cheap. They're easy to swap, and
the weights are definitely went up in price. I think like $5,000, and they even posted on their website that it went up because of COVID and supplies and what have you.
Yeah, you're definitely in a real business if you're going to drop $18,000 on a tool.
Yeah, that was my niche in, like, hey, let me help justify the increase in price, to see the value in it. But nothing yet, man. They gave me the cold shoulder. We'll see.
So Roger, have you bought into the whole Bamboo Lab new printers?
I have an X1 carbon, and eventually I'll be replacing a lot of these enders behind me with X1 carbons. It is such a huge difference between that and the enders or the tarantula or even the longer 3D printers. It's so much faster, so much easier to use.
Yeah, they look pretty nice. I was thinking about getting one just to add, because I do some other woodworking projects. That's how I originally started my 3D business. Was I was doing some side hustle for woodworkers where I was 3D printing some parts and stuff for them. And I was thinking, hey, maybe I should do the bamboo. But then it's like, that's another rabbit hole. I don't want to do that one.
Well, the other thing I really like the bamboo is I bought the AMS to go on it. And although I do have, I'm looking at it, one of them is a different color, but the first 3 are all the same color. Because when I'm mass printing these parts I make, if I run out, I don't have to worry about running out of filament. One roll runs out, it just starts on the next one. You never see it in the print.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you just talk about that in the live recently? Someone was asking on your channel, Roger. A recent video you did, right? Where they said,
fairly recent. I need to do an update one on the bamboo. They didn't give it to me. I bought it, and it wasn't cheap. But it's paid for itself in how fast I can make parts on it.
Yeah. So it says, I'm not sure which axis, but longer tech support agrees it doesn't precisely home always. So it looks like it's an intermittent problem.
Well, I've never had that problem, but I've got a pre-release B1.
Yeah, mine too is pre-release.
So my laser engraving journey has pushed me towards learning more about electronics. Just purchased a JBL, charged $5 to tear it down and rebuild speaker housing. Yeah. The
There you go.
lasers you're replacing boards.
Talk
and-
about now an engraving journey gets you to build speaker housings. That's that's quite the leap. Wow.
Yeah.
Sadly, I know much more about electronics than I ever wanted to know. That was half of my job.
I have an X1C and P1P. I'm not sure what that is. You guys know what
Okay,
that is?
the X1C is the X1 Carbon from Bamboo Labs. The P1P is a cheaper version of it. Doesn't have quite all the bells and whistles on it, or the full enclosure, although you can make one.
Yeah.
Creality's still trying to catch up to them. They're now they have the K2 with their equivalent of the multi-filament cartridge on top.
I'm not sure who this person is. They keep commenting Nikki or Cardi, Nikki or Cardi. It's probably from your following, Steve.
No, I think that's somebody who should be booted.
Yeah. I don't think
Put
they're
the user in timeout.
a laser engraver.
That might be somebody with their own OnlyFans channel.
Yeah,
It's entirely possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I right clicked it. It said put the person in timeout.
She probably owns a woodpecker though.
Other than that, I love my longer B1. That's what she said.
But we digress.
I bought a Solvo SV08. I'll be setting that up soon.
Well, that's not a model I'm familiar with using.
I don't know, where are people digging these things up from? Wow.
I've seen this oval before. They're kind of very, I would say they're kind of in between the enders and the longers. I mean, they're kind of like you hadn't heard of the BQ B1 either, like what I have, you know.
Yeah.
There's a bazillion of them out there.
Look at this. So he said speaker box. Now he's doing a drone. I was very mad. I had the GoPro drone, the Karma, which was phenomenal because it uses Google Earth. So you could set it lat long and turn it off. It would literally not move, no matter the wind direction, whatever, do auto correction. And because it used the GoPro, the camera was really good. I loved it. Flight, good response, good battery life. My son asked me to take it out. I take it out. I turn it on. It says, do you want to do a firmware update? I'm like, no. And then I'm thinking, I'm flying with my kid. You know what? If there's something goofy, I should probably make sure. I did the firmware update, and guess what it did? It grounded the drone because they're no longer going to offer patches for Windows for Google Earth. Mm-hmm. So they don't want a legal liability to be able to fly. So they literally grounded it. So I don't know, $3,000 worth of all kinds of gear. Trash. Oh, so
I've been thinking about getting a drone. I was looking at like the DJI ones, but I don't know. I can't commit. I don't really have an application. It's not like I need a drone to fly around my studio here to
I would say we have DJI mics, Insta360 cameras. Come on, man. Then some of these guys, they got DJI cameras, you know. They got
if you live just outside Halifax, Steve, I mean, you could probably drive out to the coast with one of those things and like do an aerial of something.
I only live 2 miles from the ocean.
Yeah.
Yes. So if DJI is listening, send me some stuff.
Come on, DJI. We got your cameras. We got all your wireless equipment.
You know, all the years I've done this stuff, I've never had any of those companies ever come to me and offer me anything for free. Everything I've gotten, I have bought with my own hard-earned money. So I've never had any.
You're probably better off. So this is the mystery of YouTube, right? People say, "Oh, you get a free stuff." It's not free, first of all.
No.
But a lot of it is you just don't have room for it, right? Like I have a storage, a bunch in storage, and when someone comes along and says, "Hey, I have a worthy cause to donate one," here you go, right? You can get rid of them.
A white man. The correct term is cracker.
Hey, look,
want to go there?
You were spamming our channel and you were writing Nikki or whatever that is. I can't even see it because I kicked you out. So and your profile picture was a black chick. So I don't know, man. You're something wild. We're just gonna bump you out. That's just how it works.
So what are you guys' thoughts on? I mean, kind of back to the point, Steve, where, you get offered so much stuff that you have a warehouse or whatever, storage room. I've seen like, a few YouTubers that, like the Clack Shack, for example, the guy puts out a different video every single week, and every single week he's got a different machine. Do you think that loses trust in the audience when you have, people who are very popular, big channels like that, but yet every week they seem to have a different machine?
So first, for starters, I'd like to say that we're friends with him.
Yeah, so Dave's a good guy. I mean, he does a lot of the same things I do, right? And I mean, certainly he does it, and I do it too. You review things that you're not going to use necessarily in your shop, but that doesn't mean they're bad. It just means that I mean, in my case, I don't have room, right? I don't have room for another.
Right.
I keep a diode laser, which is. So I had the X-Tool S1 for a long time, and now just to run it, just to say, hey, I've used this for quite a while, and here's what I think after a while, because you mentioned that people don't do follow-ups. And now I have the We Create 40-watt Vision in there, and I'll keep that for a couple of months there, but I only have room for one diode laser, and It has a purpose, right? There's like, if I need to do some good engraving, I use that. But I just don't have facility for it all, right? That's the real problem. Like Monport wanted to send me, well, the laser you have, the 80-watt, and I said, like, don't send it to me. I don't have room. Like, I just can't store it anywhere.
Yeah.
I have several lasers, and each one pretty much has its own purpose. And with the exception of my X-Tool S1 and the We Create, they're basically portable. I move them around and put them down where I need to use them for whatever project. And I feature different lasers on different videos all the time. And none of those videos are sponsored.
So I would say the lasers that I have, each one has a unique, I kind of set up to do a particular thing. And I think as a bigger, better laser comes in, it may move a laser out.
Yeah.
But Steve kind of, I made a comment at some point that said that I've been turning down a lot of laser reviews because I didn't want to do the lower end lasers. And Steve said, hey, Rick, you got to remember that our followers are also not always can afford the higher end lasers. So sometimes it's not that we're reviewing crap. Sometimes we're reviewing an entry level laser because that's the reality of what people can afford. So you have to review not necessarily something that you or I would particularly use. You may review it and throw it away or give it away or like we're doing the raffles. It's not something we keep.
And that's kind of why I was asking, and not to,
So,
not to bitch the Clack Shack guy. I think
no. Like I said,
puts out are great. I mean, he does really, really informative and educational videos.
He's listening. He's feeding comments back here, just so you know. So be nice to Dave.
No, I'm just saying, like, I live on the, I'm kind of on the fence, right? Because the whole point of being a YouTuber, I mean, for me anyways, is to one is to help people, right? To help educate people.
Yeah.
And to get a good following, like to get a return base of people that are going to follow you, they're going to talk about what you do. And, it's like, hey, this is, if you want to know, in my case, if you want to know how to do laser engraving on canvas, go to Willow Tree Woodworking. This guy's, he does all kinds of really cool stuff.
Yeah, and that's
I just see really like on the fence where it kind of perpetuates all these folks going out and buying all these different machines, right? Thinking, okay, I watched this video this week and this guy did a review on this machine, and then next week I see him doing another machine, and next week I see him doing another machine, and then you push the magic button on every one of them, and they all turn out perfect, right? It's like
we always said,
and we try to not do that, and I know Clack doesn't do that either. Like it's about trust, right? And it's not necessarily about I'm going to use every laser that I've reviewed, right? Or CNC is a better example, because I mean I've got a $6,000 CNC. I'm not going to use a $200 CNC, but that doesn't mean it's a terrible machine. If you're getting started, that's the one you're going to buy, right? And so I can take the eye that I have for a high-end CNC and apply it to that. And say, here's the things that I'm going to nitpick about, right? Like accuracy is a big one, right? But that doesn't mean you're going to see it on my workbench, not as a tool I use, because I have a business just like everybody else, right? So I need to use the tools that I can get things done fast with. And a lot of the low-end machines aren't about performance. They're just about getting people involved.
We also made a promise to our subscribers that we would never sound like an infomercial. And the day we sound like an infomercial, they can complain.
Yeah, and it bothers me when I do, and I mean I have, but not intentionally. But it really bothers me a lot when somebody says, "Hey, you recommended this laser, and I'm having a problem." Well, that's usually a good opportunity for me to go back to the company and say, "Here's a user," and I've introduced actual end users to companies saying, "This person's unhappy," right? And I did this with WeCreate in the early days, because in the early days they did have some quality problems with their new units. And I said, here's a couple of people who are having problems. You got to fix this or you're going to be out of business. It's not me saying it's good or bad. It's users, right? And they're going to tell you whether it's good or bad by not buying your product if it's not good. So, it's an opportunity to connect people to companies too. So.
Yeah, I did that.
What's y'all's advice on YouTubers like me? I don't have a huge channel or huge following or anything, but for if I get to that point where I start to do some reviews, product reviews and stuff for companies, how do you kind of balance that, or what are your thoughts on what you choose to review or not review? Like, what's your kind of thought process behind that?
Don't review anything you wouldn't personally buy. Yes. And never lie, because everything's going to have pros and cons, and there's nothing wrong with saying I don't like this, and this about it, as long as you say there's some goods, right? But then also, I never accept any type of equipment where they have to preview the video first.
Oh, I won't either. Or if I have to sign a contract.
Yeah, I don't
do either one. No.
Contracts.
If you want me to say, hey, I'm going to give you this, but I want you to talk about these 5 key topics. I want you to do an unboxing. I want you to do one project, something like that. That's fine. But if you're telling me I have to say it's the #1 laser, no.
Yeah. No. So I never do unboxings ever. Like, I think it's the dumbest thing ever. Anyone who's going to buy the thing is going to get that experience anyway, right?
Right.
And no one really cares what the cardboard box looks like. But I take, I try and do the best job I can to review something, and I give as honest an answer as I can, whether I would recommend it or not, and then I donate it or give it to. So, if you have a YouTube channel and you've got all kinds of equipment, like, I don't even put any of that stuff on my books of my business. It goes in and out, right? And I found war people, or not war vets, but people who are in the military, who are veterans, who are now basically not working, but they're looking for a hobby to keep themselves busy. I give some to those clubs, particularly summer camp type clubs. There's one not too far from me, about an hour away, and they try and bring kids in for the summer for a week, like a program, and they try to get them into that creative experience, right? Get their brains going on that creative path, and those are prime candidates for things like lasers.
And Clark, I would say that we all have a method to our madness. What we choose to do, what we turn down, and I'm sure there's things you turn down as well as what you review. My personal take, or what my 2 cents would be to you, would be that if you're reviewing a lot of these different things because you're getting attention now, which is great, that means you're succeeding as a YouTuber, to just say that why you would buy that. If you're an entry level, this is a mediocre level, what stage in a laser would you place it? And I think if a manufacturer was upset that you would say, I think this is an entry level laser, it's $300. It's an entry level laser. It's a $500 laser, $1,000 laser. Then maybe people understand that, like Steve, like I said to Steve, I was turning down all these reviews. Steve kind of said, hey, Rick, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should take a variety, because you have to keep other people's open. So you're keeping more of an open option. Yeah. And I was kind of with the blinders on, saying, no, I'm steering my channel on this. And if I only review $15,000 and $8,000 lasers, then, I'm going to have a very small following. So I have to kind of have all across the board. So, so Steve, thank you for that input. Because
I do have standards to some degree to try and drive the industry a bit too, right? Like, I flat out tell companies I won't review open frame lasers anymore. It's a rare exception if I do. Because they're dangerous, right? Like, I love the fact that they finally decided to make a lot more enclosed lasers, and those are the lasers I think people should be buying. Now, they cost more, but how do you put a price on a pair of eyes, right? Like, that's the real challenge, right? So I do have limits on the kinds of things I review. I'm not doing any more light burn cameras. It's like, if you need a light burn camera, go buy one, right? It's but most enclosed lasers already have them built in. So maker spaces are places that are always looking for donations. I mean, these places all run on a shoestring budget, right? And by the time they pay rent on a shop area, they don't have money to buy equipment. So they're good places to donate things.
Yeah, I do. In my area, I do kind of like program. I wouldn't really say they're program, but educational days for high schoolers that want to get into woodworking. I let them come into the shop and I show them the machines that I have and how they work and what they're used for, and show them examples of kind of woodworking I do. Sometimes, they'll make a cutting board or something like that for their mom and laser engrave it and stuff. And for me, that's my way to get back to my community, right? It's like, I want to get people engaged. I think that's kind of the key thing that you hit on, Steve, was like, you want to get people engaged and doing things that are fun and creative. And so, I mean, that's really kind of how I got into the whole laser thing. I thought, I didn't really get into it to make it a business. It wasn't like I needed to earn a big income from it or anything, but I found it to be fun. And then when people wanted to pay for those products, I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. That's just extra money for me to pay for my daughter's college degree, because it ain't cheap in the States.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, guys, we're 6 minutes over our live. I think it bringing in time won't by fast. Actually, I didn't even realize it, but I think we're gonna do more of this inviting someone from our guests.
It's good to get a different perspective, right? Before we jump, though, I want to bring up Clack's comment here again about the honest reviews. I mean, I think we all do the same thing. I won't sign contracts with anybody.
No, absolutely not.
So I have signed non-disclosure agreements, but that's very different than a contract, a review contract. That's just me not being able to tell anybody about something. But I mean, in any review, and I know Clack does it too, I try to say, here's 3 things I really think are great. Here's 3 things I think are terrible, or definitely need some work, and people can judge from that, right? And I'm not going to lie to people. It doesn't do me any good. And I have reminded vendors, and I'm sure Dave has done it too. I don't work for that company. I work for viewers, and if they don't want me to talk about their product in a bad light, then don't give me a bad product. It's that simple.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think at least all of us, and Dave, and I know Ventari was on earlier. I think we're all kind of in the same mindset, right? It's just, it does no good to become the seller of things, right? I don't want to be a seller.
Yeah. And shout out to the Clack Shack. Wasn't it? Yeah. Just kind of like, I was just kind of asking a general question, because he's the one that and the reason I say that is because I probably watch every video that comes out when he puts one out. So.
No,
why does he always have a different machine every single week?
No, it was a fair comment. We had actually just recently kind of discussed this, so that's why it was kind of fresh to our minds as well. They need us more than we need them. Have you seen their channels? Yes. You go to a manufacturer channel, they have like 13 subscribers. Yeah,
they're generally pretty bad. Yeah.
And their videos are horrible. I told you, I don't want to say the name, but I probably turned down one of my biggest deals so far, and they're just because they're just a pain in the ass. And I'm looking at their channel, exactly what you said. Like, I'm looking at, like, dude, I just hit 2.6 million views on Google, 3.2 million on TikTok, 3.1 on YouTube. You know what I mean? It would take you 10 years to do that. And I can do that for you in 6 months.
Yeah.
So, just some of these manufacturers, people think we're making a killing doing all these reviews. Our time is not free, right? So even if the item is free to us, it's compensating our time. And the reality of it is that we're hoping to use that to make money, to justify the time we put into it.
Yeah. So and I mean, videos take time. I don't know how Clack does it, like how he makes video so quick, but like, I mean, I spend probably 2.5 days making a video, and but that's 2.5 days I'm not working in my own business, right? So that's a challenge. And
hey Clack, we talked about this before. What do you think about joining us on our next live? Let me know.
Not the next one. We have Curtis on our next one. Well, he could come, I guess, too.
Yeah, let us know. Being a guest on our channel, that'd be pretty cool. So I'll shoot you an email. I have physical customers. What did it say? I have physical customers that pay my light bill. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I like this live, because the reality of it is that we all have jobs and in businesses outside of YouTube, and YouTube isn't really paying the bills, so to speak. It's a side hustle, and that things come up, and it's if I don't join a live, or Roger didn't join a live, or Steve didn't join a live, it's not read and dedicated to our subscribers. The whole idea is if we can't attend, there's a group that still present to the group and be available to it. So just
being a YouTuber is like almost a full-time job in itself. I mean, I didn't realize until I started putting together some videos myself. Like, I mean, my first video I did on my phone, and I got tons of people that viewed it, but they all came back to me and said, dude, like, get a camera or something, because it was all like, you know, like this big kind of thing. And I'm trying to demo how to do a canvas or something. It was like, I didn't realize how much work goes into it until I did one. And I'm like, man, you got to spend a ton of time editing. And
it takes a long time. And I mean, if you just like, there's people who succeed really well with fairly raw kind of videos. And I don't know, I envy them, but you know, I like reasonably good production value, and I'm picky. So, you know, but Clack seems to be able to do that without, you know, taking 2 days.
Be honest. Are you doing the video editing yourself?
So maybe I'll sneak up there and take a video of the Clack and how he does it. And
be honest.
I should go down and visit him.
Yeah, I want to know, are you actually doing the video editing yourself, or are you paying somebody? Because you do pump out a shit ton of content. Just be honest. Because I get emails from these people from like China and Philippines. Like, we'll do all the video editing for you for $12. And I'm like, I don't want to give you access to my channel.
There's his advantage. He suffers from hyperactivity disorder. He needs to do stuff. See, I suffer from hyper laziness. That's the real problem.
Daniel is still part of the crew. He's been he hasn't joined the last few. And keep in mind that he's in the he builds houses for a living. So we're coming to the end of that season. So maybe he's just humping ass to get as much money he can in his wallet before the season drops off. 110 hours a week between a day job and this. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna have to get out of here, but I thank you for joining us on the live. It was a very good. I get drug tested monthly.
That's because you're a police officer, right?
He was a police officer.
I thought he still was.
I thought he was. I thought he was retired military and an ex-police officer. Retired police
officer. I think
officer.
the 731 woodworking guy, he's the one who was ex-cop or former cop. That's the Clack guy.
I think Clack is too.
Yep. Clack is, I thought he was an ex-police officer, retired. He was like forensic investigations.
No, there you go. 14 months, he says.
Okay.
Not that he's counting.
Yeah, I don't know how he would do that. I mean, the amount of content that he puts out and still working a full-time day job and doing that. Bravo.
All right, Clack. I'll shoot you a message, man. I'll shoot you an email. See if we can set up time. You guys join us.
Yeah, you got to come and join us.
So you're on every single one of our lives anyways, commenting. So you might as well just join us on screen.
And then we'll get Venturi on after that.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining us for our live. We had a good time. Appreciate everyone joining. And it was cool. This new thing with pulling someone in from the subscribers. I think we might do that every now and then.
Yeah, that was
Thanks,
good.
y'all. Thanks for letting me join.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. See you all next week.
See you next week.
Ciao.
God bless. Bye.
Bye.